excited to be back at Challenger Brands because this event holds a special place in my heart. It was the last time I think myself and probably a lot of us were in person with others outside of our immediate family. I wanted to give you a recap of what we've seen over the last 12 months at Reddit, and ultimately want to just fast track this so we can have a nice chat with Miki Agrawal, the founder of Tushy, about some recent success that they've had on the platform. So jump right in. So for those that need a refresher, Reddit is large, 52 million daily active users and growing fast, growing rapidly. But most importantly here is 100,000 different active communities. There's literally a community for every interest and every passion that anybody would have on Reddit. And something we've known for a long time, and now it's clear that the entire world knows, is that communities have power. True power, and power that has impact on the real world, not just on the platform any longer. And as a brand, as a Reddit a brand, this is special, this is exciting. We have really enjoyed this new moment in the light. Again, it's something we've seen every day for many years about the influence and power that communities have, but this took it to another level. So we wanted to do something about it, and we've tried to figure out how do we show our appreciation for the communities and for our users in a Reddit way. So as a true challenger brand, we decided we would buy a Super Bowl commercial, and really our first TV commercial ever. And I'm going to show it to you right now. And if those who missed it, I don't blame you. It's literally 5 seconds. In the heartland. So why I wanted to show this and use Reddit as the example is, you know, we wanted to show our appreciation, and we did that, but we did it in a way that I believe have some core pillars of what challenger brands have, and pillars more so the advantages that challenger brands have. So being authentic, being transparent, and being nimble. Authenticity is important. It should be important across all marketing, but especially to do it on a Reddit or representing the Reddit brand is very authentic. I think it's a JPEG, so it's not a highly polished 30-second spot or 60-second, and it is very transparent. It talks about the budget we didn't have for a longer spot, and we did it all within 7 days of the game. So we wanted to do something, we found a way to do it, and we did it in a way that cuts through. It made people pause and rewind. But Wall Street Bets is one community out of, again, over 100,000. And there's so much more. And it ranges from r/Reddit to male grooming to gardening. And if you thought the conversations in Wall Street Bets were intense, you should spend some time in gardening. So this is something we've known for a long time, but again, it's more evident than ever that communities have power and power to influence or impact the real world. And what we've seen over the last 12 months is that people are flocking to Reddit and to communities. In a time of social forced disconnection, people want connection. And they want to connect with others that share their same interests and share their same passions, more so than people they maybe went to high school with. So the value of Reddit is really about sharing with others. It's about trust. It's about finding your home and community, and regardless of what that is. And for brands, that's a key piece. It's undeniable now that Reddit is changing purchase behavior, that level of trust. The number one reason people come to Reddit, through all of our research, the number one reason is to be informed. And that's about being open-minded and being interested in learning more. So on Reddit, because you have the ability to have whatever discussions you want or share whatever you would like in a way that you wouldn't do on other platforms, it is not as curated as, you know, consumer reviews. The way I've recently used Reddit, to give an example, is to find ways. So we're potty training one of our toddlers, and it's not going great. So I wanted to actually find a community to have that discussion, and r/Daddit and r/parenting is a home to have those types of conversations. That is not a conversation I would have in public or on different platforms as easily, but with Reddit, I can go there because I know I can trust others and they're all there for the same reasons. That's the same thing for discussing products or what to purchase or influencing anything that is a bigger decision. So in summary, authentic, being transparent, nimble, all these things are the ingredients that build trust. And trust is key for communities, but it's a foundation for online communities. It's also the unique advantages that challenger brands have. And I genuinely believe, and that's why I'm here again at this event, is that challenger brands have the unique opportunity to harness the power of online community better than others. And it's no longer about if to be on Reddit, or it's no longer brave to be on Reddit. Brands are on Reddit. But again, like challenger brands, that's why we're here, have the ability to do it that in a way that's more authentic and real and cut through. So I wanted to walk you through an example that we recently ran with Tushy. So this is a promoted post. And the text here says, if this gets 10,000 upvotes, we'll create a limited edition bidet for Reddit and change bum wash to ass blast or best suggestion. So it is a prompt. And within these promoted posts, you can turn comments on or off. So we decided to keep comments on to generate engagement and discussion. And it certainly did that. This is the best ad I've ever seen, and will consider the Hello Tushy brand in all of my future bidet purchases. You're doing a great job and should get paid more. And then, of course, let the ass blasting commence. And then it wasn't just about generating engagement. It was what they do after. They came full circle and delivered. So I can't read that one, but basically we did it, Reddit. We hit 10,000 upvotes, and now we're going to create a limited edition bidet with the select slogan that you guys want to choose. And that's indeed what's happening. So it seems like a natural segue to introduce Miki Agrawal, the founder of Tushy, to join me. Hello, Miki. How are you?
Oh, hello. It's just so funny to be just having this conversation and just like constantly saying, wow, I can't believe this is my life. I'm like, should it be Ass Blast 9000? And we're like having a team meeting about like what we should call it before we put it out on Reddit. And it's just funny that we're always like, I can't believe this is our life, but so good to be here.
Fun options to debate. So let's jump right into it, if we could. Yes. Tell us a little more about Tushy, and also, if you want, about how you view yourselves as a challenger brand.
Yes. Well, so Tushy is a modern bidet that washes your butt clean after you poop. And it's a simple 10-minute installation that easily clips onto your toilet. And it's just a 1, 2, 3. Anybody who can barely put up a like painting like I can't can install a Tushy bidet. So it's why I'm so excited about it is because it's challenging big toilet paper, which is, you know, projected to be a $102 billion category by 2021. And, you know, toilet paper was brought to America in the late 1800s and hasn't changed since then. Think about all the things and all the innovations that with the fact that we're talking on this computer system right now is, you know, incredible versus, you know, what we used to do in the late 1800s. And so, and why hasn't it been challenged? Because it's taboo and it's uncomfortable to talk about. And so, you know, one of the key things that we want to solve for is elevating our health and hygiene, supporting, you know, the 30 million combined cases of chronic urinary tract infections, hemorrhoids, anal fissures, itching, all the gross things that can be alleviated by just simply using fresh water to properly clean yourself. And then of course you know, the major issue with the environmental crisis, the fact that 15 million trees are cut down every single year to make toilet paper is absurd. I mean, it's, you know, the biggest carbon sinks in the world. The Canadian boreal forest is getting chopped down to wipe our butts with them. The most disrespectful thing we can do to the things that create human life, you know, oxygen creators. So, you know, we're really trying to educate people on the benefits of a bidet, the environmental benefits, the sustainability benefit, the health benefits, and of course, the benefits to our pocketbooks. We save so much money within a couple of, you know, months. You're basically paid back on a under $100 product. So it's just an obvious choice today.
I agree.
Yeah.
You don't have to convince me. I'm a Tushy customer. So, so 2020 was quite a year for everybody, but I think the toilet paper shortage was front and center. I know it was all over Reddit having those discussions. How did you guys adapt to all that over the last year? And maybe also, how did that influence your work with Reddit?
Yeah, so we've spent the last 6 years really educating the consumer as to why, a bidet, using a bidet is way cleaner, way healthier, way more sustainable, and saves you a lot of money. For 6 years, we've just been sort of telling this story, and we've been sort of chipping away at this conversation. And, when the pandemic happened and the great toilet paper shortage of 2020 happened, everybody that we've been sort of talking to, that people have been sort of peering over the ledge, should I buy it, should I not buy it, all jumped off and made that purchase, and haven't looked back since. And they all say things like, I can't believe, I've been seeing this everywhere and never actually purchased it. And like, what is my life before and what's my life now? It's just so much better. So I think for us, we've really learned that it takes time to massage a new idea into the world, and to put something new into the world, and to get people to think about something new and different, like a bidet. And you can't just sort of shove it down their faces, and expect that they'll immediately say okay. You have to just sort of introduce the conversation through different angles, through people's various interests, and do it in a way that's stomachable, because it's still taboo in society. And so I think what was so special about Reddit was that, because it's a very specific community where people really trust each other, and it's been around for a really long time, and it's also anonymous, when if you want to be, it's an amazing place to have these kinds of conversations, and to challenge an old preconception. And I think the Reddit community is all about sort of breaking down sort of the big man, and trying and looking to support the burgeoning thing. So we found the Reddit community to be super inspiring, and super authentic, and super open and honest. And that's the kind of conversation we want to have anyway.
That's how brands, that we talk about a lot, that authenticity, transparency. That's what you just kind of assume that marketers and brands want to have all over, not just on Reddit, but Reddit being my focus and expertise. That's certainly what wins. What would you say to other marketers that are maybe attending that think, oh yeah, well, that's Tushy, they're a bidet brand, they can do whatever the hell they want, like they can lean into humor, or they can be edgy and raw? But I don't know, any thoughts on that, about what feedback you would give those people as to why that may or may not be accurate?
I mean, there's always like a fire burning inside of ourselves, right? We always know like what are the things that we truly care about. And for us, it's, elevating the human experience by offering a healthy alternative. It's by supporting Mother Earth, by fighting global sanitation crisis, which we'll talk about afterwards. But the Reddit community was such a great place for us to start, because it really cares about that authentic conversation. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be funny, it doesn't have to be goofy, it doesn't have to be all memey. It could be whatever it is that's burning inside of you that you want to share. There is a community for you out there. Reddit is one perfect example for it. And you can also just find the communities all over the world, and just start to introduce join the conversations with them. Not just, one of the things that Neal and I talked about is you want to share the going to a cocktail party analogy when you don't know something. You want to share that real quick?
I mean, that's how it works with Reddit. When I get asked a lot, I know, how should we think about Reddit and getting our brands on Reddit? And it's not too dissimilar from going to a cocktail party. You're not going to walk into a cocktail party and start yelling about why your brand's great, because people would think you're crazy. Probably get kicked out. What you do is you listen. Yeah. You listen, and then you wait for your time to engage, and you find a way to add value. And like, that's ultimately the goal of all of it, is find a way to add value. And every brand has value to add. It doesn't matter if you can lean into humor like Tushy, or be more edgy and raw and real, or businesses wouldn't be in business if they didn't have an expertise in some area, right? Find a way to share that is typically the way that we talk about it and recommend approaching the platform.
And also it doesn't have to be boring. Like, it's like, oh, my company sells widgets or whatever, but it's like, how do you make it come alive? Like, how is it, what is it that made you burn to launch this thing? Like, what problem did it solve for you? Maybe you grew up with, like a family member, maybe it's a family business. Maybe you tell that story. Maybe it's not necessarily about the widget. Maybe there's so much that we care about and what keeps us going every day as brands, as founders, as people, and just tap into that feeling and just say, okay, like, that's what I care about. I want to share that in the most creative way possible. It doesn't have to be funny, it doesn't have to be mimi, but it's exactly the way I want to share it. And that's pure authenticity. That is true authenticity. It's not like, what do they want me to say in the way I think they want me to say it. That's trying to be authentic. And that's like, so clear. And I think the buzzword of authenticity is just so overused today. But you can really tell when someone is being authentic, and just a person is being authentic and a person isn't. And what a brand is just filled with people who care about different things, who are Reddit people, who are environmentalists, who are socially conscious, who are health advocates. We have across the board every type of person in our company. And so, we try to, really, like, one of our core values is you do you. And so we want everyone to be as themselves as they can be when they create something for the brand, because that's what people will relate to, because it feels so personal, because that's what it is.
100%. That's why I love challenger brands. Like, you can actually do that these are buzzwords. I get it. I've been saying these words for almost 6 years now, but
yeah,
they're still just as true. And a lot of brands are coming around to it, but being authentic.
Yeah. The one thing I'll just, again, like, emphasize is that, like, when you're thinking about creating something and putting it out into the world, it's like, what do I deeply want to say? Like, and tap into your dantian, which is like your power center in your belly. Like, put your 2 fingers right by your belly button and just close your eyes and ask that question. What do I so deeply want to share? And then share from there. That's it.
I guess to wrap up, I think we have a couple minutes left, but you kind of alluded to this at the beginning. Tushy stands for a lot more. There's a lot more mission behind what we've seen through the example of how we marketed on Reddit. Do you want to touch on any of that, and also how you might think about different approaches for any future campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, I think our strategy has really always been about community immersion. How do we, make content that feels both completely ownable for us as a brand, but also native to the space? And so that incorporates a lot of listening and sort of just entering the space, like you said, like, adding a comment or two, and not necessarily just bombarding and trying to, like, be the big, person on campus. Just start to add value and add value and add value. Over time, people will learn to trust you like they do in any relationship. And then you continue to be as your funny, silly self. The way, we write, and the way I've thought about for all the companies I've started isn't like how technical and clinical and medical and academic and smart we can be, but like, how are we writing like we're texting our best friend? Like, that's how we write. It's like, how do you text your best friend? You're kind of silly, you're kind of goofy, you don't really, pay attention too much to like perfect punctuation. You sometimes forget to, like, capitalize things, whatever. Like, you're just yourself when you're texting your friend really fast. That's how we write. And I think that is the true level of authenticity. So I highly challenge, everybody watching and listening here to really, like, text your friend about your business or what you're working on, and just be like, this is what I'm doing. And just play that game and see what comes up differently that way than, like, being so perfectly articulate, which is just kind of a little yawn, these days. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think we're at time, but thank you, Miki, for joining me.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I will just add one last thing, which is just to say that, the Reddit community is like a 54 million person community of everybody. And I just find it to be such a fascinating place to be. And for a brand, it actually is something for everyone. So I highly recommend you check it out.
Well, listen, don't go anywhere. We're not done with you yet, Miki. And of course, Neal, thank you so much for a great conversation. The first thing that I must say is that Mark Cuban loves your name and brand. All right. Shout out to Mark. He's in the chat right now. I'm not making that up. He literally just said that. So listen, we'll do one question and then we'll get to your takeaways. All right. This was a really good question. There were a lot, actually, but this was a really good question that came from the audience. I'm going to read it out here on paper. So Josh Seth wanted to know, Reddit is an incredible platform. I agree, with a passionate community, but two-way communication can sometimes be a little scary for a brand. You just don't know what you might get. So how did you get everyone at Tushy comfortable with this kind of execution? And what are some of the assurances or comfort that you got from Reddit? So probably a great question for both of you. Either one can go first.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share from our experience. We were actually like asked to turn our comments on by the Reddit community, which gave us the opportunity to actually engage with them one-on-one and as a, through different groups of subreddits. And we found it to be extremely, actually the most valuable place is having the engagement and showing our personality within the comments. And of course we monitor them. If it's people that are saying mean things, we just kind of, like downvote or, take sort of address those. But for the most part, like people, the more we engaged in the comments, the more we got awards, the more people gave us actual money to because they loved what we were doing, the more they wanted to engage because we were engaging with them in the same language. And it gave us another way to speak the same language and show hey, we're talking to our friends here. And it was coming from a place of true authenticity. So it actually was so valuable for us.
Yeah, I agree, but also we've talked about this too. The opportunity to humanize your brand, right? To actually act like you're not just a one-way messaging brand. No longer is top-down messaging and these highly polished long spots connecting, especially with younger generations, right? To actually be more human as a brand and be, again, transparent. There's no better opportunity than to do that through a genuine two-way dialogue. Yes, there's some risk, but that's what marketing is. That's why marketing is fun, right?
It's like comments on Instagram. It's the same thing. It's just do you want to turn your comments on? And there could be a couple of assholes in there, pardon my, but most 99% of it, people want genuine answers to genuine questions. Is poopy water going to fly everywhere? It's no, it pulls from the water and it's a precise stream down to the toilet bowl and it's coming from the wall, not from the tank or the bowl. That kind of stuff, we can actually share those answers really authentically without being trying to shove it down your face. We're just talking.
It's okay, Miki. Parlez-vous français? Okay, so why don't we get to your key takeaways?
Sure, we'll just kick this off. I think this one is undeniable, and all these are the power of community is real improvement, and it's not just the power of community; it's that communities drive real world action. The fundamental characteristics. So there's just the similarities of online communities, what makes them so special, that trust. And that's the same as the advantages. This is not just, those are the advantages that challenger brands have. And challenger brands are the ones that can do Reddit right in a different way, in a more interesting way that cuts through. And that's why I'm here.
And I will just challenge everyone who's watching to just, again, write down that thing that burns inside that you want to share about what you're working on and what you're doing. And then literally search either on Reddit or whatever platform that you're using to find, those groups who are talking about it. For us right now, one of our big initiatives is to really talk about the global sanitation crisis that's affecting 3 billion people on the planet. To date, Tushy's helps, 60,000 families gain access to clean toilets. So we're now gonna, really dive into those subreddits and have those conversations with people who actually care about sanitation, the sanitation crisis. We've now helped, millions of trees get saved from being flushed down the toilet. We're funding tons of forestry projects. We're going to be net carbon zero company, by the end of the year. And so those are conversations we want to have as well that we can have on Reddit. So I highly suggest you find that thing that you're really passionate about and then start joining those communities by just opening the dialogue and slowly opening those relationships. And then in time, you'll find a group of people that really, really care about what you're doing.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here. Honestly, I love the brand. I'm sure, Toto and Kohler, they all hate you by now, probably looking maybe to talk about how you can work together. But in the interim, fantastic product. Thank you for being here. Neal, thank you so much for joining us again. Reddit is always welcome to our stage. Come back. Let's talk about the stock market next time. All right. I'm kidding.